please find their seats. We're missing a council member. That's okay, we're waiting for you. It's all right. It's okay, John. Jen.
Unbelievable.
I'm back.
How dare you? All right.
No, I'm kidding.
It is 7:31. I call to order the town board meeting of February 19th, 2026. Would you all stand with me as I lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Marr, would you like to do roll call?
Of course. Supervisor Sheldon.
Here.
Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Councilwoman Wright.
Here.
Councilman Hunter.
Here.
Councilman Wagner.
Here.
Attorney for the town Taylor.
Here. All right. Before we begin to the open to the floor, I would like to invite Deputy Supervisor Hunter up to the podium with me as we acknowledge something. So, for those of you who do not know, February is recognized as Black History Month, and it's this year is special because it is the 100th year of it being recognized. In fact, the White House put out a proclamation recently encouraging municipalities to celebrate. And in that, I would like to invite the Deputy Supervisor to begin as we give a proclamation in recognition of Black History Month.
Whereas Black history in the United States is comprised of an extensive collection of stories, leaders, traditions that are critical to our national identity, it remains important to acknowledge the individuals and accomplishments that helped to found, build, develop, and improve our nation. And whereas the designation of time period to celebrate Black history began in 1926 with the intention of highlighting vital aspects of the American experience that academia had long neglected. In 2026, Black History Month is an annual effort to continue this tradition and build on years of work to add to the realities of Black experience in the collective public memory. The significance of this month echoes far beyond the teaching of history in classrooms, and whereas 2026 not only marks a century of this coordinated effort to highlight Black history, but also 250 years since the independence of the United States of America. America's story is incomplete without acknowledging the massive role that African Americans have played in it.
And whereas each February we recognize Black History Month and appreciate the many achievements of African Americans in science, the arts, religion, public policy, in every facet of society and beyond. And whereas the tradition of abolition and progress sustained in this region lives on today, from ensuring that the promises of the Constitution apply to all citizens, to the civil rights movement, the White House, and beyond, we revere the contributions of the Black community. And now, therefore, be resolved on this 19th day of February in the year 2026, on behalf of the Webster Town Board and the entire Webster community, we recognize the indelible achievements of the Black community and commemorate Black History Month in Webster. Thank you. All right, it is now time for the open to the floor public hearing portion. Rules of conduct. You are speaking before the board. Please speak to the board, not the audience. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes to keep the meeting progressing forward. At 4 minutes, I will wave my hand as a quick wrap it up, and we will just move on at 5 minutes. Questions do not have to be answered. If you want your question answered, please provide your email address to the town clerk at the end of the meeting. We are more than happy to get back to you. Please respect the speaker. Please refrain from disruptive behavior or comments. They may not say something you agree with, but they have a right to say it. Threatening statements will not be tolerated and may involve you being removed from the meeting. And for everyone's awareness, the full rules of conduct are available on the town website, the podium, or upon entrance into the town board meeting. With that, up first is our good friend Chris Naka. So please, sir.
Chris Naka, 1065 Shoecraft. Feels like it's been forever since we've had one of these meetings. I'm a little rusty at the microphone. Real quick, just to bring up some conversations that some people and I had a few months ago about when we do the speaking portion of this. There's a lot of the time that after the presentations that happen after this leave a lot of us wanting to say something or have a voice at the end of these meetings. And I know that by just moving the speaking portion of this to the end, you might put the people that are coming here only to speak and then leave at a disadvantage, as they would have to stay for the meeting or come a little bit later. And where we kind of in the audience were in agreement that we'd actually like to encourage people to stay, and that maybe it would be a good thing if we had it at the end, because more people might stay and not just, speak and then leave. Not to say that that's a bad thing or anything like that. But then, it's probably more impractical than anything. And that maybe you could add another line to the sign-in sheet out there, just saying whether you wanted to speak at the beginning or speak at the end. I know that adds another layer of things to the whole process that may complicate things unnecessarily. But the thing that I wanted to speak about 2 weeks ago that I'm going to briefly speak about now was the Verizon towers and them being constructed in an area in Webster. And I know in this particular location, there's only about 5 houses, as I remember, or so in the area that are going to be in direct eyesight of this tower. And I know that in this particular circumstance, there's only 5 houses, so that's not probably a big enough number of residents to alter moving forward with anything like that. But as far as setting precedents is concerned, the people in these areas, not necessarily all being Verizon customers, yet having to deal with Verizon's marketing / technological products in their area, in their eyesight, in their waves that are passing through their bodies. If you go online right now, you'll see a whole bunch of people with varying opinions on the matter. Is 5G going to give us all cancer? Are they all trying to see in our houses? It does nothing at all. It's perfectly safe. Everything's fine. And just the simple fact that so many people are having that conversation and the opinions on it are so broad in spectrum, no pun intended, that has ramifications on people, whether it be physical, and all the people that say it's physical are right or they're wrong. But just say 3 of those 5 houses, 3 of those people are on the side of it. They're spying in my house. It's giving me cancer, and my grandkid's going to have 3 arms. If none of that's true, it's almost irrelevant to their psyche and their daily life and what they think about when they get home from work at the end of the day. That's just one more thing that these people are worried about. And I would hope that we would be sympathetic to those types of people, whether they are right or wrong, and encourage these companies that are essentially erecting giant billboards, functional billboards, in people's backyards, that these people at the very least be compensated. You get a free Verizon account, something, anything that is not just one more thing that's piling up on people's consciousness, for lack of a better word, the things they think about. And that is all. Love you guys. Thank you.
You have a whole minute left, but thank you, Chris.
Well, you do bring up a good point. I just want to make the comment that Robert Kennedy his department will be doing studies on the effects and impacts of 5G, which I was very happy to hear, because some of the studies that are out there are a bit antiquated.
All right. Up next, Peter, I'm going to butcher this name, Weishar.
Good evening. My name is Peter Weishar. Lived in Webster for 52 years, built 2 houses, 3 kids, Webster School. But I am opposed to the Monsanto proposition. 2 or 3 meetings ago, there was a gentleman that came here and had a cell phone that played what an inverter sounded like. And John Cahill, you had asked him a question, said, well, how many inverters were they? And he said 3. Well, we're going to have 18. And these are some of the common sounds. Low humming, buzzing caused by internal magnetic components, variable electricity flows at high frequencies, cooling fans, whirling and whooshing, and activities that the unit is actually trying to convert during a peak, I don't speak. And then high-pitched whining, often called coil whine. Now, one of the things that really bothers me is what is the unintended consequences? Who's going to do the maintenance on these things? Because they need to be cleaned. They do need to be, like the coils. It's like looking under your refrigerator and saying, well, I didn't get the dust out of there. Same thing's going to happen here. And I was glad that you asked the question, because that was the sound, and I was sitting right over there, and I said, wow, that's annoying. Can you imagine it starting up in the morning and late at night when it's switching off? And unintended consequences as who's responsible? What's the plan for fixing the things that are going wrong? And that's just the simple things that I found on the conversion process. It was really kind of fascinating to read about all the different places that you have to have a maintenance that takes care of these things. They don't just clean themselves, and then you're going to put it up on top of a dust bowl. So,
No, good points, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
right, and
I had a lengthy conversation.
Monsanto actually went on Facebook and
Yep.
a couple of weeks ago and was saying, well, there's nothing wrong with them. Well, the conversion isn't. It's the humming noise. You got people who are sensitive. It's like, So, sorry, that's about all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Up next is John Miller. John Miller still here?
I thought I just signed in, sorry.
Are you sure you don't want to talk? I mean, you're here. Okay.
I also signed in, so.
Oh, Jason, I see you there.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, Jason, you can just, do a non-tax update for us.
Yeah, come on, tell us all about it. It's tax season, let's do this. All right, then, the next resident then is Alice Penna.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Alice Penna, and I hold a clinical doctorate from Damon University. I'm speaking in opposition to the proposed solar garden in Webster. It's not just about the technical specifications, but also the quality of life and the perceptions of those in proximity to this proposed project. Balancing the utility of clean, green energy production with ensuring nearby residents' peace of mind is crucial, and I believe should be the utmost in the minds of those who have taken an oath to guard the health and safety of those they represent. There's a lot of debate over the health risks associated with living near solar farms. Some claim that there are no health risks or adverse effects, while others believe that there are several potential risks. While living near a solar farm is generally considered safe, especially compared to other energy production facilities such as coal or natural gas plants, there are some concerns and potential health risks, even if they are relatively minor or even speculative in comparison. All electrical devices and infrastructure, including solar panels and their associated equipment, emit some electromagnetic radiation. According to the World Health Organization, there is a health risk of electromagnetic hypersensitivity associated with living near solar farms. This condition is characterized by a range of symptoms that are triggered by exposure to electromagnetic radiation fields. These symptoms can include headaches, fatigue, skin rashes, and sleep disturbances. Many studies have noted that more research is needed, and because of potential long-term effects, recommend maintaining a distance of at least 2 kilometers, roughly 1.2 miles, from a solar field. The production of solar panels involves chemicals, some of which are hazardous. Most photovoltaic panels have toxic substances like cadmium, lead, selenium. The toxic substances leach into the soil and groundwater over time and damage to the environment, particularly if panels are damaged during storms or due to mishandling. It's not uncommon for the glass panels to become cracked or broken due to natural events like storms. When rain falls on broken solar panels, it creates lead and other materials like carcinogenic cadmium, copper, or aluminum to leach down into the soil below. Over time, polluted soil is washed into nearby waterways. Inverters and transformers at solar farms can produce low humming noise, as the last speaker spoke of. The primary sound from inverters and transformers is low frequency, which results in sound with a longer wavelength. Noise barriers are less effective for longer wavelengths and then require a larger wall that might not normally be expected. The most aggressive sound control treatment for transformers and inverters is a full enclosure or even a building type of enclosure. While many solar facilities only operate during the day, in some areas battery storage components are necessary and could result in transformer and inverter operation during the evening or overnight. On a final note, as a resident of Webster, I would ask, what are the benefits to those who live in the area of the proposed site? And the rest of my neighbors who pay taxes and choose to live in a place where life is worth living. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, Mr. Mark Williams, who I realize that I have been talking to a different Mark Williams, so I apologize.
Hi, my name's Mark Williams. I live at 1448 Quail Creek Trail. And contrary to what the Montante slides said in a recent Facebook post, those slides tell us about how great a job Xerox, the remediation systems, and the DEC are doing managing the contamination. The situation is not as good as advertised. The only, and just so everybody understands, the only thing that prevents contamination from migrating off of the Xerox brownfield and into the 3 adjacent Tramac subdivisions is a system of underground blasted bedrock trenches. They're about 30 feet deep, and they have recovery wells in them. And the fluids, the contaminated groundwater, the system's designed so that those fluids will flow into those trenches and then be pumped out for treatment. That's basically how the whole remediation system works. Montante says that these remediation systems are fully operational like 100% of the time in their slides. And the 2 slides that they had on Facebook, I believe, were what they had for the planning board meetings months ago. And I've got an example of when the remediation system did not remain operational. This is just one of a number of examples. And by the way, everything that I've got as far as facts and figures comes from Haley and Aldridge engineering reports, their annual reports that are done every year. And so for one example, a trigger well, which is a warning, a monitoring well, exceeded its threshold in 2023 for the first time since 2011. Two reasons were given for the high VOC, they're solvents, volatile organic compounds, for the high reading provided by, in the Haley and Aldrich engineering reports were, number one, Building 200, the contamination area for Building 200, it's another contamination area that's across the street. It's across from Caracas Drive. And they had extended downtime for their pumping wells in the blasted bedrock trench there. And the downtime was due to rusted underground conduits that shorted out the wiring, and the other, they fixed that, and they had another issue, which was they called it a broken conveyance pipe. I imagine it was a discharge pipe. So those two failures, and I believe those were age-related, they caused the pumps to go down for several months. And then the second reason for this trigger well to go off, and this trigger well, it was designed to pick up problems from the landfill and from this Building 200 contamination area. The other reason was that the landfill groundwater pumping declined by almost 2/3 starting in 2022. It was annually pumping out something like 1.3 million gallons a year, and it dropped down to like 500,000. And so for a 10-year average, it was a nice, 1.3 million per year. And then the prior 3 years, the most recent period, it dropped to 500,000. The DEC says Xerox will just monitor the landfill recovery well pumping issue. To me, this sounds like just waiting, we're going to wait and see. Then the hazardous landfill has a 36-year-old asphalt cap to prevent rainwater from amplifying the contamination plume. There's many cracks in this cap. Xerox agreed to put 1.5 inches of additional asphalt on. I believe that will crack quick too. And when you imagine this, it looks like a parking lot covered with all these solar panels, the ballasted racks, the wiring and everything else. I think it's going to be damn near impossible to seal that afterwards. And then rainwater penetrating the cap would amplify the groundwater plume, and we've got pumps that are already compromised and only working at 1/3 their prior rate. And then the added weight may cause settling issues on the 90+ degree days.
Sorry, Mark, you are at 5 minutes now.
I'm done now?
I'm sorry,
Mark,
but thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Supervisor,
Oh, go right ahead.
Mark, before you step away from the microphone, I just want to, number one, thank you for the email and the amount of information in the email. It's very important information that I have not seen yet. You presented a lot of the information. I'm looking forward to having another conversation with you and pulling these reports. But to your point, those in favor of this solar field, they're not going to present that information. And would you just give us a little background of your experience with Xerox, how many years you worked there?
So I worked there, started in '78 in the union, and worked there for 40 years. My first job in the union was working over a boiling vat
have to
of
move things along, though.
All right, if you want to
Trichlor-
come back next, at the
Sure.
next meeting and just enlighten us, then I'd appreciate it. But thank you
yeah.
again.
I'm sorry, I'm a little verbose.
You're fine, Mark. You're very well spoken. All right, he was the last person on the list, but we do have some other people here. Does anybody want to speak up? Monica? Dennis? I'm doing some research. You're doing research? Okay.
Hi, I'm Dennis Gorlick, and I live on where do I live? I live in Tall Birch Trail in Webster. And I wasn't really going to talk on anything that had to do with solar facilities, but my background is that been a scientist, a researcher, PhD candidate, postdoctoral at Columbia and at Princeton, and now I've just been appointed to be on the Conservation Board. But I just wanted to do a quick look. I don't have any information at the moment on health effects, though I'm not sure what the data is and where the consensus is on health effects of brownfields that have been successfully done. But the thing I was able to find fairly easily was a brief study of acoustic impacts of solar power generator facilities that was done in 2025, a review of all available literature by the Louisiana Solar Energy Lab, University of Louisiana. And they were looking at some fairly large solar farms. And what they found was that even though there's concern about sound, that they actually did a lot of measurements of how the sound is affected by distance from solar panels, generators, inverters, transformers, and they start off at the worst level would be, let me get the graph here, I'll just go over it very quickly. Some of the sounds start off at the source, being as high as 90 decibels, some of them are like 50, but they're attenuated fairly quickly, both in models and in actual measurements. By the time you're 100 feet away, you're down to 55 to 60 in the worst case, 30 decibels in the best case. By the time you're 200 feet away, even the worst projector of low frequency and high frequency sounds, especially low frequencies, the ones that start off as 90, by 200 feet are all measured to be below 45 decibels. So that's pretty low, and that means if you're located further away than that, in fact, the guidelines specify that for some of these things, if you're 140 feet away, you're really below the threshold of being able to hear anything. So just wanted to put that in the mix, and I can share that with anybody if you wanted to take a look at that piece of research, fairly good research.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks.
Monica, anything from you? Okay, we'll hear from you in 2 weeks then. It'd be last call, anybody else? No? All right, that will close the open to the floor section. We did not have a workshop 2 weeks ago, but I have reviewed the minutes from Deneen, and I would like to, for February 5th, 2026 town board meeting, and I would like to make a motion to approve said minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye?
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright,
Aye.
Councilman Hunter,
Aye.
Councilman Wagner.
Aye.
And Garrett, you had the dubious honor of signing them all.
Yep. I would like to make a motion for consideration to approve bills as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second. Councilman Wagner,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye. Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilman Hunter.
Aye.
All right, I would like to make a motion to consideration to approve prepaid warrants as submitted by our Director of Finance.
Second.
Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye?
Councilman Hunter,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye. Councilman Wagner.
Aye.
I would also like to make a motion to, for consideration to approve purchase orders as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second. Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye?
Councilwoman Wright. Aye. Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilman Hunter,
Aye.
Councilman Wagner.
Aye.
All right, this next one was we were going to update an engagement letter with Bolanos Labor Law. However, when we relooked at it, the individual that we were looking to subcontract through them has agreed to contract directly with the town, so we would choose. So we are actually going to make a motion to strike this from the agenda, to strike the resolution to authorize the town supervisor to sign an updated engagement letter with the town's labor attorney, Bolanos Labor Law PLLP.
Is that your motion?
Yes, the motion is to get it off the agenda.
Second.
One quick question, is this going to come back up in the future?
Not this specific one, no. That would be it would be a second one if we want to contract directly with the firm.
Okay. Thank you.
Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright. Aye. Councilman Hunter,
Aye.
Councilman Wagner.
Aye.
All right, this next one, I would like to invite up Jason Molnar and John Miller to the podium, as we are going to have a lot of questions. Whereas we're looking to sign an engagement letter with MSC to provide federal tax credit compliance services. I know we have a lot of questions, so.
Would you like to stay here or go up to the podium?
At the oh, I didn't realize you were over there with microphones. Please sit.
Okay.
Yeah, we have Jason here from MSC and Representative from Bonadeo as well to answer any questions you might have in regard to the investment tax credit related to the renewable energy project.
Yeah, and I know we have a lot of questions here. As usual, we'll go down the line, but we're going to start with our CPA, Mr. Wagner.
All right, I apologize for the audience if this gets a little boring and technical. All right, so phase one is the scope of service.
Yes.
What exactly are you guys planning to do at phase one, thank you, for the 80/20 test at phase one? Because I know obviously the new stuff, we're not going to know exactly yet. But in terms of the old stuff, what testing will be done at phase one?
So we're going to review the preliminary assessment that was done by the firm previously, determine if we agree to the eligibility, confirm that we agree with that eligibility. We'll also perform a preliminary 80/20 scrutiny. That's that 80% of the cost are essentially new with respect to this investment. And no more than 20% are old with respect to the investment. We won't be able to finalize that until we have final costs, but for as much information as available in the next, say, month, we'll try to get it as up to date as we can. We'll also assist with a pre-filing registration with the IRS, likely 1 week after we confirm eligibility, assuming the board wants to proceed with pursuing the tax credit. And we'll target completion by late March 2026.
So in the sequence of events, we're going to do the first 4 bullet points and then the 80/20 test? Or, what are the ones that we don't really need to do just in case we don't pass the 80/20 test that we need to hold off on?
I would say you don't need to do the pre-filing registration. We don't need to submit a report necessarily. If the 80/20 test fails, we could avoid all the reporting. I'll send an email, I'll update you. It's likely you're going to fail, to try to keep any costs down if it's obvious that you will fail. But,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, for the step on performing the 80/20 rule work, right now it says, based on available costs and fair market value representation. So for the 80/20 test, does that need, per the IRS, a third-party valuation? Or what does the IRS accept as a valuation method for the old stuff?
So there's no formal valuation methodology requirement with the IRS. Any reasonable method will be acceptable. At this stage, we're likely going to ask for advice from you as to what things may or may not cost. To the extent that you're not able to provide those costs, we will look for similar units that are available and try to do our best to come up with a valuation based on initially available information. To the extent that we can dive into details at this stage, we absolutely will. I'm not looking to shirk any work or responsibility, but I understand that you're not going to have full information, within this timeline. This is a preliminary.
Yeah, and that's why, like, the new stuff, we're not going to know yet. The old stuff, we already have the old stuff. The old
Correct.
stuff's not going to change.
Yeah.
Just seeking some clarification on, are we just solely doing the work? Are you guys doing the work? And if we need to do the work, what exactly are we expected to do, before we provide our depreciation schedules, which isn't really a fair market value representation? So, like, once again, is it really like the town's going to, at your direction, assign value to these items? Or
Yeah.
what exactly is going to be done at this early phase.
Yeah, for whatever you have or know or have the ability to provide a value for, let's say without hiring anyone, it's a known quantity, we'll take it, we'll work with it. If you do not know and you have no way to ascertain that, we'll take it upon ourselves to provide that valuation.
And in your report, is going to kind of summarize that of like, hey, for these items, we valued them, and here's how we determined what that fair market value is going to be.
Yes, we can provide that.
And then, so at that, you think, I mean, the 80/20 test, how many hours do you think the 80/20 test is going to take, given if we're going to do all the old stuff, how many hours do you expect that to take?
It's hard to say. You know, we're looking at tens of hours. I can be confident in saying it's not hundreds, it's not less than 10.
Yeah.
It's going to depend on what we find when we dive into the various components and details, but we do give you a limit as to how much we will charge for the phase one, and I will keep within that limit, so we're not going to go beyond it.
Can you break that limit out to just the 80/20 test? Because it sounds like the 80/20 test is the bulk of that first work we want to do. Like, we want to kind of clear that benchmark as close as we can now of, we know the old stuff, we can quantify that.
Yeah.
The new stuff will be close enough, and that, once we know that,
Yeah.
the rest of this, per rhythm, we're already kind of good
Yeah,
on.
of the cost in the phase one,
Yeah.
I'm going to say 75% of that cost is going to be that 80/20 rule,
Yeah.
somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah. So it is the bulk of the work
Yeah.
is for that.
Okay. But yeah, like I said, just some clarification on what exactly is your role versus ours on that 80/20 test, so we know. And let me see what other questions I've got here.
Is that something you'd like me to follow up with in an email, just to
Yes,
have it
please.
documented in writing?
Yes,
I can do
please.
that.
We'll update the engagement letter to reflect that.
Okay.
And another question, you know, in here, there's always that, if something goes wrong, what's going to happen? There's different coverage between IRS examination and inquiry and audit, et cetera. You know, a change from the prior engagement letter from 2 weeks ago to this one is you guys have now capped your liability at the fees paid to the town. What was the rationale for changing that cap you placed in there?
I'm sorry, there was a change in the cap on liability?
In the first engagement letter, there was no cap on your liability. In the second one, you added the cap as the fees paid to the town.
Generally, we cap liability for private companies at the fees paid.
Okay.
You are not a private company, and that is not generally what we do. I apologize, that should not be that way. I will revert back to the prior
Okay.
version.
Well, that's where, like,
Yeah.
as I told people, doing my work, engagement letters, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
And there's always these little things you miss of, like you said, for private companies, it's in there.
Yeah,
So like, this is why we talked about this today, like having to review this stuff is important because it's so detailed and so monotonous, and sometimes stuff is left in, it's not intentional. You guys aren't trying to like sneak one over on us.
no, yeah.
But it's all this, so much jargon that you've got to like look at, so thank you. I was more just curious than that, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, our firm has updated our standard terms, and
Okay.
that one snuck back in. I'm sorry.
No, no worries, that's why we gotta,
I'll also do a full review of the terms, just to make sure there is
yeah,
nothing else
there's
from
always
their
that
update.
reading, the joy of reading engagement letters. All right, I think that's all I've got for now, but if I see someone else in my notes, I'll circle back. Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
Jen?
I can't possibly ask the questions that Garrett just asked. Well, the one question that I have is, wouldn't Navitas have a lot of the numbers from the value of what's already there, and they're building the design, so they know what's going in? Can you get that from Navitas?
They may be able to assist with that. For the existing equipment, I would not count on them having an
No.
estimate of the value of the existing equipment.
They wouldn't have any values on the old equipment.
Okay. So,
What'd you say, Paul?
They would not have values on the old existing equipment prior
No.
to the construction beginning.
Oh, I meant like the phase one of, not old
Oh,
equipment, but the.
the new
like
stuff.
The
Right.
newer stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
the new stuff.
that'll be very easy to get from Navitas. I'm not concerned about those costs, ascertaining those, no.
Is there anything from prior to that that can possibly count towards this 80-20 rule?
So just to take a step back, the potential risk we're evaluating here is for the things that were there, the components that were there prior to the start of construction of this new facility and ability to capture the RNG and sell it or use it in reducing the cost of the operation of the plant in some way. Prior to that, there are some existing components. And I was actually at the facility today. And so things like steel braces that are holding up some of the new equipment is still retained. That old steel is still there. The cement outer structure of some of the tanks, the cement's still there, but the entire inside has been completely replaced and retrofitted, or redone. There are some things like that remain. And those things that remain cannot be more than 20% of the total cost of the entire project. If they are, on a valuation method of their value as of today, then we would have to shrink back the size of the project to try to make sure that at least 80% or more is essentially the new stuff that Navitas is putting in place. And so when, I looked at the facility today, I was surprised, let's just say, that virtually everything there is new. So much of it is new. There are a few things that remain. I think our risk is low here on not passing the 80-20 test, but we still have to run the numbers. We're all, we're at an accounting firm, so we'll run it, we'll confirm it, we'll let you know how close you are. As a preliminary estimate, again, by the end of March is our target, if we can get started quickly here.
Bless you.
So I read your contract, and are you done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, John, you're up.
I went through the contract, and I have the same concerns that Councilman Garrett had asked. But I got to the section 7U, and it gave me, and it continues to give me, great pause, and I'll just read it briefly, part of it. It addresses third-party services. And it says, from time to time, in our sole discretion, without separate notice to you, we may engage third-party providers, including those located outside the United States, to assist us in providing services to you pursuant to this agreement.
Yes.
That's a non-starter for me.
Okay, we'll pull it up.
Okay.
So you're aware, that's our data entry team that we would use to enter information, but I'm happy to pull it out.
Standard language for contracts, basically, I'm guessing?
For our contracts, that's in our standard language, yes.
Yeah, it's just too open-ended, and I just,
I can pull it out.
that's
Yeah.
great.
And that's what I
I mean,
imagine, in
this-
this
this-
case, you're not gonna like do the same thing as the whole firm does for these type of contracts. Like, you don't need to outsource this like other stuff. It's more narrow in scope.
Yeah, so again, that's in there because we use a third party for data entry, so but we don't need
It's
to do
just
that
too
here.
non-specific and open-ended. so-
Totally fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind pulling it out.
Anything else, John?
No.
Nick?
I'm all set. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
I just want to double check right now that, and verify, I know you mentioned it earlier, but say, you're in phase one and it turns out that we don't qualify for the 80-20 rule, we are eligible to just stop at that point and pay no further?
Correct, yes.
Great.
So the only,
You said you had no more questions, John.
it's a statement.
It was like
It's not a
30 seconds
question.
ago.
It's not a question, it's a statement. And just so the audience is aware, we passed a resolution to pay a company $328,000 in design. And that's before we knew about this, okay? Had I known about this prior to us passing that resolution, I mean, I voted no, but the timeliness of these things, and I know it's probably out of your control, it just gives me pause, it really does. So that's my statement.
One other question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the prior one was more a standard engagement letter, and now this is a master service agreement. What was the choice behind that change in kind of the overall format?
I'm not sure, I'd like to see, so we
prior
always
one?
had a master services agreement,
Okay.
what we provided you. I may have only sent you over the statement of work
Okay,
and not the master services. They're separate agreements, though, both need to be signed.
oh, okay.
So, yeah, maybe we should sit down and take a look at that together, just to make it clear.
Clarify, okay.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
sure. If you don't mind, we're looking, John, to save the town tens of millions of dollars through a tax credit from the federal government. We're here to help, and we'll help however we can to try to help make sure that this town gets those tens of millions of dollars from the federal government.
This is no negativity on
Okay.
your part. This is not your fault. I just I feel that we put the cart in front of the horse. I would like to have seen this before we agreed to spend $328,000. And as a matter of fact, I would be in favor of pausing the design aspect of this RNG project until we have the outcome of this. But I know that's probably not going to happen. But if I had it my way, that's what I would do. So it's not your fault. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you being willing to remove that section from the agreement.
Yeah.
But to Garrett's point, it's a pretty lengthy document, and
It is.
you know, we take the time to read it, make notes, and I'm glad we do.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your willingness to take that out.
One thing I would say, going back to voting on the design work moving forward, is that there was an aggressive timeline to be able to qualify for these tax, I guess they're credits. tax.
Yes, even though you're
I
a
guess
town.
it's not a credit, it's 'cause-
It's a direct pay credit from I know it's weird because you're a town, but it works as a credit.
And I understand your position and the concerns that, hey, we're spending all of this money on the design, that something may not come through. But we did also do a pre-review of the project with Witham,
Yes.
who had given us the confidence that we're moving in the right direction, and there was a high probability that we're going to pass the 80-20, and that
Yes.
the federal tax dollars will be there, and they're not going to be pulled away for 10 years. So I understand your concern, I really do, but this is an opportunity for the town to take our wastewater treatment plant that is already state-of-the-art and take it to the next level for a cost. And yes, there could be risk to the project, but for a cost that could end up covering the entire project or a good portion of that project, because a lot of work was already done. We already have, I don't know how many millions of dollars. The whole thing is basically brand new, so that those credits could apply to part of the project that is already there. And I know it's changed, but the first estimate was that the project was going to cost $8 or $9 million, and we could get tax credits up to $14 million because of what's already there. Now, we can't sit here and say it's going to be $14 million and the total cost of the project is going to go down. But again, the confidence of our wastewater treatment plant leader at the moment, and our finance director, and Witham, I just feel like I have that trust in the department heads and the work that has been done, that in the long run, this is going to be a benefit for Webster. And honestly, this whole project, there was risk along the way in this project. There was risk of putting the cart before the horse, of growing this project from $30 million to, I don't know, $80 million,
Yes.
$85 million. I betting on the come that Fairlife would come. So, I mean, I understand the concerns, but these are, to me, these are, we've paid somebody to tell us we're moving in the right direction. And I have confidence that this is going to be a great project for Webster.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Jen.
And
I have confidence too. We met with Navitas last week, John and I, and Bob Wimmer and Paul are very confident that before the tax credit, that the renewable natural gas program will will be greater than, like, what we'll get back is greater than our bond payment each month, which means that, we're coming out on top, and that's before this tax credit. So if this all comes through, we're looking at a lot of money in revenue generators that towns don't get.
Have they increased their projection past the $500,000 of gas revenue then?
No.
Substantially?
So in the meeting that we were at, the Navitas representative, he stated that even without the tax credits, the revenue projection will cover the bond payment. He didn't say it was going to be more or less. He said it would cover it. And there's no guarantee, okay, and this is my perception, this has been my problem with this project from day one. There's no guarantee that we're going to get these tax incentives. There's no guarantee, and you guys cannot guarantee that 5 years down the road that the tax codes change, we lose those incentives, right? We have significant projects, in my opinion, that take priority over this elective project, and the fact that we're also $120 million in debt. This is, to me, an optional project with no guarantee of significant revenue coming in. That's where I stand.
Well, and, if the project costs $10 million, the bond is going to be about $600,000 a year. And if we only bring in $500,000 a year in RNG revenue, it can't possibly cover the bond.
Exactly.
So, to me, there's many steps left that we've got to get into. So do we have a definitive list of what else we've got to figure out between RG&E, selling the gas, tax credits, all these remaining pieces that we're kind of like, here's our master project list? Because we don't want to be rushed where it's now July 15th, we have to make a decision on a Thursday to move forward or not, because time's up, and we're just going to have to be like, well, we'll figure out some of these 8 steps later. Or do we have a...
And you bring up a great point, and it's a point that hasn't been factored in yet as far as cost goes. RG&E is going to have to come onto our property and put some building up. We don't even know what the cost of that's going to be yet. We have no idea.
But
We
that's
have no
kind of the
idea,
point.
we have no idea of the cost of the hookup. And that's just, to me, is unacceptable to make a decision without all the facts.
I'll just give
But,
Paul a
John, so
chance
what-
to comment on this.
We don't know yet, but Navitas is working on that component. That you are correct, there would be a small building that RG&E would have to put up. That should be all part of what they bring back to us first week in May.
that helps, Paul, that helps with some of this worry. If we know, here's the data we need, and we know, when they come in May, if there's 10 steps, we're going to have all 10 answered, or then we'd have 7 answered and 3 later. Because right now, we're all kind of theoretically talking about this, that, and the other.
And that's really what I kind of wanted to point out. It's all theory at this point. With any development process, we want to be cognizant and aware about how we're paying for these development projects. I mean, we don't want to just say, hey, we're doing it, pay for everything outright, and then be like, oh, shoot, this is way too expensive. So there's always going to be a tiered process as to how we do this. And we're still in that fact-finding place here, where we have this opportunity to take what we did with our wastewater treatment plant and build onto that with this renewable natural gas that we're already releasing. And hey, this is a cool opportunity to take advantage of that revenue stream. But we haven't approved that project yet. We approved the estimate, John, to answer your questions. And we know where you stand, and that's totally fair. Where I think what we're doing is we're getting a little bit too far ahead of it. We're answering all our questions right now by, moving forward with our accounting firm to make sure that we're set in getting every benefit of the possible tax credits or reimbursements from the IRS, as you will. But also still learning the other aspects of the development to say, is this still feasible? And yeah, that's the other $380 million or $380,000 that we paid for the rest of the project. So to Garrett's point, yes, right now is the time that we establish what do we need to get answered? But I think I do have a hard time with us poo-pooing it right away without saying, hey, we haven't finished answering all the questions. I get it, we've spent a lot of money in this town, but we need to earn money to cover our basis, and this is an opportunity to get that revenue.
And speaking of staying on top of stuff, Alex, is there an ETA on the notes from that Navitas meeting that you and John attended?
I texted Kim earlier today. She has all the meeting notes. She's supposed to be sending it to all four of you by tomorrow. But they also did state that, and Paul corrects me if I'm wrong, that their capital costs is lower than what we had originally anticipated.
It did. That's what Bob Wimmer said.
Okay.
Without 100% of the drawings, I take no credence to that whatsoever.
All right, well, I cannot make this resolution because that's for me to sign it.
Well, it
but-
sounds like he's gonna make some changes to the engagement letter anyways.
Well, we can approve the signing of the engagement letter with the changes. So I do, when the motion is made, it needs to remove the two subjects that you and John had discussed and they had agreed to, so.
Well, the other one is clarification on the exact testing done for the 80-20 test of who's doing what, which I don't know how, that's a little nebulous, because I don't know exactly what that's gonna say. I think we need to have a conversation with them on like that wording.
If I could clarify, I think the question was what percentage of the cost of phase one is related to the 80-20 rule? I can put on there that we'll have that done within, let's say, 70% of the total cost in phase one. If you're willing to just proceed with approval on that basis, if that's enough.
Well, I'd like some more clarification on like the role of like, what do you expect, some guidance from you on what we're gonna do to determine the fair market value of those
Okay.
and those responsibilities.
Then I think that's probably we need to have a side conversation, talk through it then.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we continue to kick this can down the road, how much time and money are we losing? Because this project was supposed to, originally came up back in October. So we are now looking 5 months later.
Well, I think it's important to have the clarification. that
Yeah,
you're
engagement
asking
letters
for.
need to be accurate and, you know, the time we put in ahead of time is important and we gotta make sure it's right.
To clarify, you have two risks. One, if any of the work on site fails to continue to be continuous, you could potentially lose the credits. So we need to make sure it remains continuous. And secondarily, if you wait too long, there's a risk that we're not able to prepare everything.
Well, I think we can carry 2 weeks to straighten out this language in this agreement.
We've already carried this 2 weeks. Paul,
Well, then
another 2
put it up
weeks
for a vote,
impact
see where
this.
it goes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where we've gotta do our work ahead of time and make sure it's right. And when we don't,
I agree.
this is the end result. We've gotta make sure it's right for the town with what we sign. There's limits on how vague we can be with wording. And that's where we're at. So,
I have the same concern.
Jen, anything from you? Nick?
I'm in favor of moving forward for sake of time. But I think it's important to take full advantage, so if there's an opportunity for us to lose this here, that is a risk that I don't want to take.
yeah, I don't think in 2 weeks we're gonna risk losing
No.
anything.
It's not 2 weeks, though. It's now 4 weeks from when we originally anticipated this.
Well,
Well, then it should have been right on us the first time. That's on us to not make sure things need to be right the first time. And this
Now,
will
we
be
can
voted.
make the letter of engagement contingent upon these changes too, and this conversation. So we can make it contingent upon you having this conversation with Jason within the next week, and we can sign it the week after, not wait 2 weeks and then have the contracts come through. Correct, Kyle?
You can't approve a contract with such contingencies if it's agreeable to the board as a whole, but that's for the board to take up that vote.
Yeah, that's the recommendation from you, Kyle, and kind of like, I don't know the answer of how nebulous can we be with like, we're gonna update provision
So
this.
You could move to approve this contract for an amount not to exceed $121,500, contingent on the section U being struck from.
7U.
7U being struck from the contract.
And Garrett had another one
The
too.
clarification that phase two, the 80-20 rule we complete is 70% of the overall cost of phase one.
Okay.
And working to clarify the roles that the town and MSC will play in establishing the value of the components that go into the 80-20 analysis.
Okay.
You could make that resolution
Yeah.
with that level of kind of.
Oh, good, that helps to know, because that's the part we don't know of, like how nebulous and finite, okay.
Yeah, and we can put a duration that conversation occurs and the engagement letter is finalized within a week.
Okay.
First of all, I appreciate, I really do appreciate Councilman Wagner's attention to detail. It's fantastic. And I'm going to make a motion that, I got to catch everything that you said there, but I'm making a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign an engagement letter with MS Consultants LLC to provide federal tax credit compliance services related to the wastewater treatment plant, Project Renewable Natural Gas Component for an amount not to exceed $121,500. That is contingent upon Phase 1, 70% cost of Phase 1, which is between $18,000 and $22,000, being completed on the 80/20 rule. And this contract would not advance if we failed the 80/20 rule. It is also subject to striking
7U.
7U from the terms and conditions, and also providing a more detailed clarification on the preliminary application of the 80/20 rule. We want the details of who is going to be responsible for what steps in performing that 80/20 rule, detailed of what the town is going to do versus what MSC is going to do. So having that clarification, striking the terms and conditions, and making sure we are not spending more than the amount outlined in Phase 1. And that is my very long motion.
Did you want to stipulate the amount of days?
Yes, and that review is going to happen within the next week so that we can get this MSA signed, so we can keep this project moving forward and allow us the greatest possibility of getting multiple millions of dollars in tax. You are going to be very happy when
I
this
second
comes
that
through.
longest motion ever. Congratulations.
You
Thank
have to
you.
repeat it verbatim.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that was well done.
Councilwoman Wright,
Aye.
Councilman Wagner,
Aye.
Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Nay.
Councilman Hunter.
Aye.
I know you're going to be happy when this comes through. You're going to do a dance.
I
We're all going to be happy.
I sure hope that you're right.
I
But
just
I am
wanna
very
see John
skeptical
dance.
and remain skeptical.
But you're promising me that Councilman Cahill will dance.
No, I'm Irish, I
He
can do the
dance.
jig, buddy.
Would you like to perform for us?
No, we'll wait till we see the outcome, all right? Nothing comes for free with me.
All right, Jen, you are highway liaison, so the next two are all you.
Oh, well, is there anything, I saw Pat come in. Is
He's in the
Pat
back. Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Pat, you're behind the pillar. I don't know if there's anything you want to say or share, or just make sure we,
Yeah,
Move
Pat, they're just
forward.
your two resolutions for us, for the administrative and construction management costs for the salt barn. If you would like to give a, quick overview of it for why we're doing this.
Yeah, if there's any specific questions, I can definitely answer them. So these are two solicitations for some professional services associated with the construction of the new salt barn. The supervisor was authorized to sign the prime contracts. One of them is for construction administration, which is mostly going to be in the form of organizational documentation. It's going to document a lot of the stuff that we're going to try to handle with the three prime contractors on site, just keeping that organized in files and with reports that everyone can review as needed. And then the other one is for construction management, which is a different version. Sorry, I think I mixed those up. Construction administration is going to be the review of submittals and things to do with the technical documents that come through it. It's a standard scope of services for our capital projects recently. And then the construction management is the organization and the documentation of those processes. So I've put them out. We didn't contract this with the original design of the project, which it can be done that way when you do the professional services. But because we weren't sure of the final decision on whether the project was going to move forward, we opted to not pay for that scope of services or contract for that scope of services all at the beginning, because if the project didn't happen, we didn't want to have just an outlying scope of services that we'd have to essentially cancel. So we've segmented the professional services scope to go along with the approvals. Now that we have approval for construction, we have to go out for these services to give me a little bit of support as I manage it and make sure everything's documented and reviewed properly to make sure that we're getting the building that's been designed.
I appreciate your, my conversation with you with respect to these two issues. And, you know, they are professional services, and they don't necessarily have to go out for bid, but according to our new policy, professional services above a projected a certain amount have to go out for bid. And I think that's a fantastic idea. It's a great policy. Thank you, Paul, for bringing this forward, and that's all I have.
Yeah, any questions from the board? Garrett?
Nope.
Jen?
Nope.
John?
No.
Nick? All right.
Then I will make a motion to advertise a request for proposals to provide professional construction administration services for the Salt Barn and Washout Building project in the Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 Webster Herald edition, with proposals due no later than Wednesday, March 18th, 2026.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Wait. Aye.
Supervisor Sheldon?
Aye.
Councilman Hunter?
Aye.
Councilman Wagner?
Aye.
And I will also move to advertise a request for proposals to provide professional construction management services for the Salt Barn and Washout Building project in the Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 Webster Herald edition, with proposals due no later than Wednesday, March 18th, 2026.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Sheldon?
Aye.
Councilman Hunter?
Aye.
Councilman Wagner?
Aye.
All right. Our next one is about cyber insurance. We had a nice, long discussion with our head of IT earlier, and Paul, and it does seem pricey. We are lucky to have cyber insurance because municipalities are one of the most at-risk organizations for this type of attack. So we're lucky to have it at this point. But I do want to open up the floor to the board for any questions that they may have for our finance director, Paul.
I don't have any questions, but thank you for all the emails explaining the process and something that we most certainly need.
Yeah, and I think for Steve at the end, from IT with, chiming at the
Yeah.
end, he had a lot of good details there. And just, it's good to bring different departments in on this, because we talked about it, it's a little nebulous, like, who does this fall under? It's a new thing. And getting more input from the town is always better.
Sure. So, Nick, you're our resident insurance expert. Any
Sure.
questions?
No.
Joe? Except no. Jen?
Was there a question about, I know there was one question about answering,
It was answered.
it was
was.
answered?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that before the meeting
It's all right.
today. So we're good?
Yes,
We're
question
good.
was answered, and Joe, the insurance person, confirmed he got the answer and no changes.
Okay.
Joe Parisi is fantastic.
Who's, is this IT has to make this?
No, this is finance.
Okay, so
Um,
who's finance? Nick?
No, that's me, but
Well, you
it's me
can't
the
make
one
this
signing it, so.
Yeah, you
I'd
can't
be
make
happy
the
to make the
resolution.
Nick,
That's
Nick
fine.
is our insurance guru.
Go ahead, Nick.
I make a resolution to authorize the town supervisor to sign the Houston Casualty Cyber Insurance application to renew the policy for the period beginning March 18th, 2026 and ending March 18th of 2027 at a premium cost of $38,840.89.
Second.
Councilman Hunter?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Sheldon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright?
Aye.
Councilman Wagner?
Aye.
So the next one is me. I'll move to approve the following items for recycling from the sewer department as described on the agenda. That's my motion.
Second.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Supervisor Sheldon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright,
Aye.
Councilman Hunter,
Aye.
Councilman Wagner.
Aye.
All right, it is time for the roundtable of board members, so they have a chance to discuss what's going on within their departments. Garrett, would you like to go first?
Sure, why not? I think, thinking about what we talked about tonight and those are the pieces, and especially with the West Webster Hamlet and that slow and steady progress. Remind me of that old story, the tortoise and the hare. And it really is a municipality, our goal is not to go fast. We're not a high-tech startup that needs to rush through things. Thank you, Jennifer, for the microphone modulation. We don't need to rush through. And that's about that slow, deliberate, doing our work, bringing departments in, asking questions, making sure things are right. It's not the glamorous part. It's not the fun part of what we do. But as you heard again and again, like, it's so important that we all look at what we do, because no matter what it is, big or small project, we all care and you all care. That's why you're all here. Now, some of the people left already. They missed the end. But that's why they're here, right? To see what we do, and we're responsible to act on behalf of all those people, which is so, so important. So I think just that good reminder for all of us, slow and steady, great progress. Hopefully, like you said, West Webster Hamlet, we'll see some more of that and it'll pay off.
Attention to detail.
Yep.
Gianna?
Well, I guess the first one is one that we talk about every week, and I'll just, because Pat's here, thank you and your entire team for the fantastic work that you're doing with all of the snow this winter. It's been crazy, and ice yesterday, so appreciate all you're doing there. And I guess I don't have a specific program at Parks and Recreation, but I will put in the announcement that there are so many different events and classes and things for folks to do of all ages at our Parks and Recreation Department. And I encourage people to take a look online and sign up for some of the programming, because there's some really cool stuff there.
My daughter was there this week.
John?
So Gary made a lot of good points in the discussions today. And as a board, our most important responsibility, in my perception, is the fiscal responsibilities of the decisions that we make on behalf of our taxpayers. So I enjoy your level of attention to detail, benefits everybody, okay? The other thing is, we have begun the initial phase of talks with Penfield regarding an what do you call it? IMA, regarding the ambulance service. We're just in the first stage of it, so we had a meeting today. It's like, get to know, I didn't know the new supervisor down there, didn't know the new town board member. Very, very nice people. I think we're gonna get, we're on the right path. So that's new. The sewage treatment plant, the project continues to move forward. I appreciate the fact that I've been allowed to attend monthly update meetings, which I'm kind of like on a learning curve, you could say, because this is the first I've been liaison to the sewage treatment plant. So it's been very enlightening. We had a meeting with Rory Fitzpatrick, which is on the team of Navitas, to get a better understanding of his interaction with not only Fairlife, but also Navitas. And it was very educational, and they've been extremely supportive on these projects. So it was a great meeting. That's all I have.
Nick?
Thanks, guys. So from a communication standpoint, I was talking to Bridget before, we're gonna have an information survey that we're gonna send out to residents the end of March. We wanna get a better understanding, and Bridget, if there's anything I'm saying incorrect, please shout at me. But we wanna get a better understanding of how residents wanna hear from the town, So that survey will come out the end of next month, so please keep an eye out for that. And we're also, the communications department's gonna be kind of collabing with the rest of the departments for a 250th anniversary celebration for the country. So keep an eye out for that. From a police department standpoint, I just want to thank them for all the work that they do. Winter is a tough time for our highway department as well as our police department. They shared a couple of reminders. Our chief just wants to, in the winter times, take your time when you're driving. We had a lot of accidents in the last week. That takes a lot of resources, manpower, so just be cognizant, be nice to each other. And as always, if you see something, say something, but it's important to, these days are tough, wintertime is tough in upstate New York for our service workers, so just make sure you give them a little extra space.
Oh,
So, thank you.
can I go back? There's one other thing. There is one other thing.
Just for you, Jen.
2 minutes.
This is back to highway and it's back to communications. There has been a lot of concerns with potholes and who to call on what road, and the communications department did put something out. I'm not sure if it's on the website, it is on Facebook, who to call depending on what type of road you're on. If you don't know if it's a state or a county or a town road, if you do call the highway department, they will be happy to assist you in getting it taken care of or directing you to somebody who can. It's been a brutal winter, and there are a ton of potholes, and we're still in the midst of that brutal winter. So, to the degree they can be mitigated in certain areas, they will be, but we all need to have patience. I know there's like a huge one right on 104, and you just need to get in the habit of switching lanes when you get to that one, wherever it is, between like 250 and I think the Hard Road or Holt Road. It's bad, but there's not too much that can be done, as frustrating as that may seem, until the weather gets a little nicer. So have patience, remember where they are, slow down, go around them, use
Well,
caution.
if it's a state road, we had a meeting, I was at a meeting yesterday evening, and our assemblyman, Brian, and I can't pronounce his last name.
Mangtalo.
Mangtalo. If you call his office directly or email his office directly, he's our assemblyman, he will jump right on it. He's very, very good about that stuff.
Well, and separate from the roadway, I forgot.
All right.
The Cessna
I
McLean.
said just for Jen.
Well, this is
And now
important.
everybody's chiming in.
This is very important, though, because she's sitting right there. Our clerk's office just finished up real estate tax collection, which was huge. So thank you for that, because that was a mammoth, the first time being inside the town and seeing how many people come, it is truthfully like crazy how many people come in person.
She did it shorthanded, too. They
I
were
always come in
understaffed.
person and say hi and pay my taxes. Forget escrowing taxes, pay my taxes.
All right, Alex, now you're up.
No, I want to say thanks to John for that meeting today with the EMS. Both Kevin Berry, supervisor of Penfield, myself, and Bill Lang, who's their EMS liaison, we're all new to this, so John's knowledge of the ambulance service and understanding the process that we've gone through is going to be invaluable, and I don't think we could have a better person leading the initiative
Thank you.
for a proper IMA, so I really want to thank you for your work, and I'm very happy
appreciate
to
it.
have you as doing that. Other than that, I just want to thank all of our great staff at Town Hall there. Deneen is the best of the best.
Do you have anything?
The town staff wishes not to discuss such matters.
Okay.
All right,
That's a
but,
wrap.
yeah, no, that is it. With, if the board has nothing else to bring,
And we're done.
we're done. I officially close up the
Thank you.
adjourn, oh wait, I make a motion to adjourn
Second.
the workshop, the town board meeting, second by Cahill.
All in favor?
Do you
Aye.
have to do your thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Supervisor Sheldon.
I want to say nay, but
Is that a
aye.
new
Trying to
thing?
expedite
Is this a
things
new
again.
thing?
Did you say
I said aye, yes.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Hunter.
Aye.
Councilman Wagner.